And Jared, we couldn't have done the Smart Cities without you. You were in the trenches with us, so thank you. Let's see, I just need the clicker somewhere. Is it right here? This guy? Then just hit play. All right. We'll get it started here, 5 minutes. All right, well, thank you for having me. My name is Kirk Rabius. I'm with AECOM, and we design, build, finance, and operate smart city projects across the United States and around the world. And I'm excited to share with you some of these projects and give you some interesting insights into them. And probably one of the most interesting things that I think maybe as a takeaway is that there are so many possibilities in this space. I mean, each one of us could come up with a dozen, if not more, ideas, and there's so many possibilities right now. And so what does that look like going forward? And so the first, mobility option, I think, or one of the key areas of focus is around improving mobility across the city. We see Uber, Lyft, we see the sharing economy, we see a lot of exciting things happening. And this is just one of the key elements of smart cities that we should be focused on. Another key area that we see a lot across every city in the United States is around bridging our first mile and last mile. And what does that mean to the citizens? How do you have access to the infrastructure and our incredible infrastructure that we have across Denver? And what's happening in the energy market is just incredible. I mean, wow, we have renewables, we have microgrids, we have decarbonization of the grid. There's so many things that are happening right now in this space. And this is one element of smart cities that's really, becoming first and foremost in the smart city market. We also have a focus on saving our precious resources and, how do we really tap into the technologies that are there to save on energy and induce efficiency across cities. We also look at making cities safer, and there's really a focus on, making our citizens feel safe, but also to reduce response times for our emergency responders who truly, we're saving lives through some of these technologies. Meeting the needs of the underserved population is really near and dear to me. It's bridging that digital divide, it's giving access to services and meeting the needs of the underserved. And I think that that's a real key area of focus that we've been hearing today and is definitely a part of our smart cities future. When we look at infrastructure as AECOM and many of us, we look at what does the future look like? Future-proofing for what's out there. And a lot of it is unknown, but it's allowing to have the bones of the infrastructure to really enable that. And that's what's really important in the city, is not looking at the shiny new objects all the time, but what is that infrastructure that's gonna make it happen? Zayo is obviously clearly a part of that. You look at these emerging technologies, and I just had to show a drone with some kind of cassette tape or something. I don't know what it's doing, but there's these new emerging exciting things that are happening in this space that are driving our future that we need to also embrace. So kind of, bottom line, most cities are doing the same thing. And I know it's kind of interesting because we're looking at authenticity around Denver, but you look at Columbus, you look at Kansas City, you look at, all the top cities across the US, they're all trying to do very many of the same things that we're talking about today. So we kind of have this interesting philosophy. We're talking about, how do you really drive a smart city? What does it mean? What are the key factors of this? And imagine that Dorothy has just landed in your city with Toto. And, she has 3 friends with her. And within that smart city, as you're following that yellow brick road to your smart city, you have to have a brain. You have to have a smart city ecosystem that's going to be the connected tissue for all types of smart city elements, not just one, but all of them. So smart water, smart energy, smart transportation, all the elements coming together and communicating with one another. You also have to have a community with a heart that is beating this smart city forward. And we all talk about that. It's about the community. It's about embracing what that technology really means to our society. And finally, you need courage. And I know we can't see on the right-hand side of the screen there, but it says, it's about not accepting the status quo. It's about leadership taking that next step and saying, I don't want to revert back to 1990. I want to go to 2020, 2030. What does that look like, to Errol's point, 5 years out? What does the future look like? So one of the key takeaways, cities are in the forever business. There's not a beginning or an end, but we as consultants, we see our work that way. We start a project and we end a project. But in cities, there's total cost of ownership, right? There's that first cost to install something, and then there's a forever cost to maintain it. And so we also look at what does it really cost to a city, to the citizens, to induce and install some of these smart city solutions. The other takeaway I think that would be of interest to you is around smart KPIs. A lot of times we talk about, a bazillion people being on the planet at, X date, and it doesn't make us wake up in the morning any earlier. But, if we talk about recycling and saving, the land and resources and something that's impactful to our daily lives, it's going to actually drive the community to buy into this, because a lot of communities don't really understand what smart cities are yet, right? I mean, they're still trying to understand, so we need to make sure that we have performance indicators that are going to drive that. And then, we see this a lot, but infrastructure is very messy. And there's a lot of drilling and going under streets and infrastructure and surprises and things. It's not as clean as maybe we would hope. So there's an element of reality of some of our infrastructure that we think is important to look at. So I'll just leave you with this. One of the key elements, and it's something that I think we all talk about, is creating a blueprint that resonates with us. It's a framework by which we can quickly get started. And I think that's where we're at today with Matthew's leadership. And we're just so happy to be here. And thank you for having me. Love to continue the collaboration. Thank you.